Welcome everyone, this is Hipnozer and this is the next episode of the philosophy series, the series of presentations about philosophical topics. Now here we are taking a look at the attitude of doubting Thomas and how it is connected or can be connected to relativization of reality. Okay, so these are the things we're going to talk about today. We start with some basic information, consequences of skepticism, uh, and undermining skepticism, consequences of falsehood of the claims, shape of our world, definition consequences of lack of verification, consequences of learning through faith. We've also talked about false intuition and lack of and lack of trust, and we conclude everything at the end. Okay, so let's start who Doubting Thomas is. Doubting Thomas, also known as Didymus, is the disciple of Jesus who didn't want to believe in his wounds until he have seen it with his own eyes and felt it with his own touch. Okay, so basically he was the guy who has shown skepticism in everything he sees, and that is connected with certain consequences, like questioning the validity of mathematical physical theorems, validity of verified information, desire to understand universe is also questioned, and the advantage of intuition can also be questioned when it comes to revisional processes. Okay, so what is the consequence of falsehood? So from the matrix we know that when we looked at dialogue with architect, that the first matrix ended with error and system crash because of the lack of choice. So to function, universe must be accepted and give the illusion of choice. Without it, it will become false or cause error, or it will be unverified, which over time will lead to error as well. Okay, so here we can define shape of the world. It's set of all ideas and fragments of our multidimensional space, and its integral part of the world. Here we have the image that shows us what shape of the world is. So we have certain fragments that create that shape and certain ideas that also are part of that shape. What is the consequence of not verifying information? Here we create something called disinformation world. So it's a concept where meaningful information is essentially annihilated. Now, next, also we have the theorem of non-existence. So it states that if all perspectives don't don't give a meaningful image, then we say that for those perspectives the world does not exist. This is also the same theorem written with the language of logic. If for all observation points belonging to observation space there exists physical world and exists set of ideas that a physical world or idea belongs to or is this information world, then physical world does not exist. Okay, so here is an analogy that is supposed to help us imagine the concept of the theory of non-existence. Let's say you're trying to figure out if the chest containing a treasure is real. When you look at it, the image turns out to be hologram or illusion, and if that illusion is in all perspectives, then the chest does not exist. Okay, so what are the consequences of knowing the world through faith? Because that's what happens when we question the adopting Thomas or Didymus attitude. Okay, so first thing that happens is huge dependence of a teacher or master. Also limiting access to information that is not part of the faith. Okay. And blinding oneself. Okay, so these are basically the consequences. Now let's go to false intuition. So intuition is a large part of existent and is non-existent by virtue of non-existent theorem. And even if it existed, it could be wrong. So we see that there might be plenty of problems with intuition. And what conclusions can we draw from those things we talked about earlier? So the attitude of doubting Thomas is not only advisable but also necessary for proper functioning. When we try to be skeptical about skepticism, there is a risk of error, like in the Matrix world. Okay, this information annihilation is that concept where this information annihilates information which is connected to earlier mentioned theorem of non-existence, and using this theorem of non-existence we can undermine the concept of intuition, similar to Gorgias's thesis we've mentioned before. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. This is all for today's episode.